Bitcoin is doing its very best to trap most traders here again. So let's talk about exactly that, because I do need to issue a major warning signal for the Bitcoin price action here. Because yes, we saw a major dump to the downside, and that's exactly what we need to discuss within today's update video. We will discuss a lot more than only that, also the most important Bitcoin price action. We will take a look into towards the latest news in the markets here, and also into Ethereum and a little bit of altcoins. So from there guys, make sure to first of all subscribe to the channel and watch and like my latest YouTube video, and then we can dive in towards the most important content. Since I think Bitcoin is in a major bear trap here, and this is not the moment to get fooled, because I do ultimately think that Bitcoin is still looking bullish, but I do need to issue a major warning signal, which is that Bitcoin is losing a lot of strength here and is currently at the last EMA ribbon levels, which could indicate to us that a new move lower will confirm a new Bitcoin downtrend here, and that is ultimately something very bearish. This is of course the daily time frame, so this is on the daily time frame, so let's hope Bitcoin can hold exactly this level, but this is a major warning for Bitcoin holders. If you are about to break below those those last EMA ribbon levels, then we could see a major downtrend occur. But I do ultimately think yes, this is a Bitcoin bear trap, and this is Bitcoin's last try to shake out all the bears at the lows of these EMA ribbons here, because I do ultimately think that yes, Bitcoin will be following that global liquidity to the top side. We will be initiating a new big move higher in the last phase of the cycle, since that's what we have done each and every single time this cycle. So I don't think it will be any different this time for Bitcoin, and I do ultimately think yes, that next Bitcoin move is still coiling up here. Bitcoin also created this major HNS pattern, this inverse head and shoulders pattern is exactly bouncing in the right shoulder here, so I don't think there's too much reason to be panicking here. Ultimately this is a super bullish pattern Bitcoin created, so most definitely I do think yes, that breakout is about to occur through that neckline. That neckline from this pattern is laying at basically at almost all-time high levels, so once we see a breakout out of exactly this pattern, it could be a major Bitcoin move. So definitely don't turn bearish at the lows in my opinion. I do still think Bitcoin is looking good. This is definitely one other important pattern, because we are losing the support of this ascending triangle. It's basically a little bit of the same, just like the EMA ribbons here. We could be losing a super important support level here, but yeah, ultimately there could also be a scenario where Bitcoin bounces back a little bit, breaks back in towards the ascending triangle, and then makes a new move to the top side. So yeah, ultimately I do think yes, it is still a major Bitcoin bear trap. And definitely guys, if you just look on that longer term, just not on the daily time frame, but on that longer term, yes, Bitcoin is still expanding. Bitcoin is in that expansion phase, because we can clearly see that the bull market support band has been starting to expand in this phase here. So yes, I do think we are still in for a new period of, more bullish Bitcoin price action, because actually the bullish trend is expanding here, and the last time we saw something like that was here in November, and then we saw a big move higher, and we saw Bitcoin continuing with a lot of bullish price action over quite a few months here. So I do ultimately think something like this is much more realistic for Bitcoin, and if Bitcoin would be falling lower here, then yes, I do still think in the end, in that longer term, Bitcoin will still move higher, and I do think that's the most important thing to just keep in mind. On that longer term, this second half of the year, of the most bullish year of the bull market, I do ultimately think that yes, Bitcoin is in for a new move higher. Yesterday we saw that the Bitcoin spot ETFs somewhere between $6 million worth of Bitcoin, and the Ethereum spot ETF saw outflows with over $11 million in outflow yesterday, so definitely not too interesting here. Very small outflows and inflows there. We do know, and that is definitely some big news, that the Texas decision on the state Bitcoin reserves are coming by June the 22nd. So that is definitely very interesting, because Texas is literally one of the biggest economies in the world. So if they are going to start accumulating more Bitcoin for their balance sheet, yes, that would be something very bullish for Bitcoin. And actually we saw some very slight inflows in total for the Bitcoin ETF, but BlackRock did buy a lot of Bitcoin itself, with over $46 million worth of Bitcoin again yesterday. So yeah guys, that is still looking quite amazing. BlackRock has been buying the dip once again, so yeah, that is still looking very good. These in the market are still very big here. And guys, then let's discuss the Ethereum price action, because also Ethereum is seeing quite a big move to the downside, just like Bitcoin. And I see a lot of people panicking on the timeline, and definitely about this Ethereum versus Bitcoin chart. But ultimately, yes, we are breaking down this ascending triangle, but we can still see this as a big range where Ethereum versus Bitcoin is trading in. And I do think that yes, out of this range, we are still in for a new Ethereum versus Bitcoin move higher, because definitely if you take a look in towards that bigger picture, which is also super important for Ethereum, yes, then we can clearly see that we are bouncing exactly off those 2019 and 2020 lows. And yeah, we do know what happened exactly after that. Now in 2025 we have seen exactly the same, bouncing off those lows, now still consolidating within a bullish range in my opinion. So then there is not too much reason to be panicking about Ethereum. I do still think yes, it's looking quite amazing, it's still looking quite good here, but yeah, you do want to see Ethereum starting to show a little bit of strength here. And if not, then I do have a super important price target in mind, because I do actually think that if Ethereum is about to move lower, it would be a big gift for us actually, because I'm still targeting this range low level. And if Ethereum would be hitting this range low level, yes, then I'm definitely getting interested in opening a position on Ethereum and accumulating more on spot here, because if you're about to hit that range low, I do think there's a high probability of Ethereum bouncing back quite aggressively here, all the way back to the range high, and that could mean a very big trade here. So this is still a super important scenario. And if we zoom out a bit on that Ethereum chart, then yes, Ethereum is still in this reaccumulation phase. We have been rejected of the 0.5 Fibonacci resistance level here, and I do ultimately think yes, once we break that Fibonacci level, then we could be in for a big move higher to $3,000. Ultimately, my conservative Ethereum price target for this bull market is that $4,000, which is basically the range high. And if Ethereum would be moving higher, you can be looking at, for example, a price target of over $6,000. But I'm a little bit more conservative with my price targets. I do think once Ethereum hits that range high, that's definitely a moment where I will be taking most of my profits, because guys, I've also been accumulating at exactly these lows here. I do know how bad that Ethereum price action can be. I have been accumulating all the way down from that 0.5 Fibonacci level, and yeah, ultimately I do like it to take a lot of my profits at that conservative case. And ultimately we are entering the last phase of the cycle, and yeah, always in that last phase of the cycle, that's the phase where altcoins tends to go the most parabolic. So I do think it will be exactly the same this time around. Actually, if you just simply take a look in towards these last phases of the cycle, you can see that altcoins aren't even lagging too much behind like what happened the last few cycles. Also in 2021, for example, we saw a major drawdown for altcoins before we saw that big move higher, which was, for example, that double top here. And a scenario like this is still highly likely also for this bull market, because yes, in that last phase of the best year of the bull cycle, so basically that post-halving year in 2025, exactly in those post-halving years, we always see some insane returns for both Bitcoin, for example in 2021 here and in 2017, and for Ethereum in 2021 here and 2017. In those post-halving years, we are always seeing some exponential returns for both Bitcoin and altcoins. So yeah, I don't think this time will be any different. And guys, this isn't the moment to be panicking too much about Bitcoin and Ethereum. So yeah, I'm still quite bullish on Bitcoin, altcoins and altcoin season here, guys. And that was it for today's update video. Hope you guys enjoyed this update video, and I will see you guys within the next update video tomorrow.
Trading is never as easy, but who say you can't have fun? In every minute you lend, the more you will enjoy. As you grow up in this industry, you will find yourself, and so round yourself with people who will help you to grow up as trader. It's hard in the first place, but I am sure you will be successful. As a trader, always remember trend is your friend.